In this episode of the Fireside Chats blog, I want to talk to you really quickly about educational leadership and what makes someone effective. This is just my opinion over the experiences that I've been through over the past several years, being in the classroom, being out of the classroom, seeing districts as a whole, seeing classrooms, seeing the big picture of everything. And to me, a leader's not just reserved for administration. Teachers have leadership roles, paraprofessionals have leadership roles, educational assistants have leadership roles. So, like I said, we could talk about the highly effective habits, we could talk about all these skills that I think come with experience, but at the end of the day, to me, I think educational leadership, effective educational leadership, revolves around two things: love and humility. And I think if we can get those two things right, I think that we would see great change. And goodness knows that I'm not always the most loving person, nor am I the most humble person all the time. And I bet if we could really sit down and have an honest conversation, you'd probably say the same thing too. But at the end of the day, if I can keep centered with those two things in mind, that all the things fall into place. When you lead with love and you lead with humility, it leads you to conviction about things. It leads you to go that extra mile. It leads you to do things that others aren't willing to do. When others are saying, well, if we do this, what if this happens? And what if this happens? And then you turn around and say, what if we don't do those things? To me, you can look no further than Jesus to look at the model example of love and humility. To me, it's the best leader example that we have. And as a follower, showed us a perfect way of how to love people even that the Pharisees at the time really didn't have a lot of love for, and how he always put others' needs above himself. Even when his disciples didn't quite understand half of what Jesus was doing, even though they were in the midst of a miracle maker. Because who doesn't want a teacher that loves their kids? Because unfortunately, there are those that don't. Who doesn't want a leader that puts others in front of their own needs? Because to me, you can't get any better than that. One of my favorite verses says, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, but in humility consider others better than yourself. And that's my life verse. I try to live it. I don't always do a good job of it, but I know that if I can center around that love and humility, that it makes a highly effective educator. When it comes down to it, to me, if you were to have a conversation what makes a great teacher, I'm really not going to talk to you about pedagogy. I'm not going to talk to you about the latest trend or the fact that they can multitask. I can't multitask. But what I would say is I think someone who loves kids, who has a heart for them, and puts students above everything else. So something to think about this afternoon, this evening, this morning, whenever you're watching this video, is really what makes someone effective. And to me, it centers around love and humility. And if you can do those two things right, everything else falls into place. So, thank you for watching, and with another episode of the Fireside Chats vlog, we'll see you next time.